And so as we all begin to align our energies in a dynamic of movement into a new decade, there's a whole lot of stuff that's going to be changing. The question is, can you maintain your sense of identity? Can you maintain who you really are in the midst of all of that? We think that each of you in your own way, as you read the reflections of your reality, become more astute, become more aware, become more facile, become more elegant, and become more graceful in the dynamics of your reality creation. We have been saying recently, and we wish to remind you all of this dynamic, the times of the greatest crisis are the times that present the greatest opportunity for positive, and say that again, for positive change. So while everything is being chaotic, and it's almost like everything is being thrown up in the air, you have an opportunity to catch the pieces and say, oh, let's put this together this way. Let's put this together that way. You know, I've always felt that everything is unfair in this way. Maybe we can change the whole dynamic of fairness. Listen. The solution to your world that boils down to the ultimate dynamic of who you see yourselves as. Do you see yourselves as victims, or do you see yourselves as creators? Do you have an opportunity to begin to utilize the things that you have learned into your adult lives to be able to take that and actually do the things that you have been trying to do for many years, because finally your world and you are mature enough to actually have the focus necessary to be able to manifest those dreams and those desires, and those dreams and those desires are emotional in nature. They don't have words, they do not have structure, they do not have anything. They exist of happiness and contentment and safety and security and a space to give and receive love safely. But that comes from existing in a society, in a world that measures itself by how well the least of its beings are doing, not the best. It's a society that provides a safety net, food, water, shelter, healthcare, education for everyone, at least at a minimum level, creating an equal playing field. It's a dream of humanity, a golden dream of humanity that says you can have it all and more, that you as a species can attain the purpose of your growth. Each of you, you know, because you have been so divided, you have lost the ability to do group manifestation. All of the old monoliths and all of the old megalithic structures, what were they? They were circles, they were squares, they were shapes that tended to bring people together.
Rodgar.
Right, among others.
Right.
Among others, there are many, many sacred sites around the world, and some of you have been to many of them, that allow you to understand that the energy has said, come back together, come back together. It is within the dynamics of coming back together. Now, of course, you have been on a long journey, thousands and thousands of years, a long journey of individuation. Okay? You know the purpose. The purpose has been to develop an individual relationship with the divine, which basically just means learning how it is that you, as physical beings, as emotional beings, as spiritual beings, actually create your reality. It's mechanical, but it's a mechanical dynamic of the emotions, which makes it a lot more difficult to understand. But yes, there are certain ways that you react to things. There are certain ways to be able to manipulate the dynamic of emotion in order to be able to create. And it's like anything in your world. You have to have it's like, you know, does something trigger you? Well, that means that you have a sympathetic resonance to that dynamic. You know, do you have emotional reactions? If you do, you got things to deal with. If you're not having emotional reactions, if you're feeling peaceful and you're feeling calm, but each of you in your own way are making steps forward into unknown territory, steps forward into unknown and unclaimed levels of love. Ultimately, hey, it's what you've all left to last. And we mean all of you. All right? All right, all right. All right, so we wish to assure you that the new humanity will, there will be no threat from artificial intelligence because it will be heart-centered, which basically means that humanity wishes to be useful, wishes to have things to do, wishes to create. But imagine if you did not have to worry about where the rent's coming from next month, or how you're going to pay the bills, or what you're going to have to do in order to make money, or what if you didn't have to worry about any of that? Oh yeah, you might sit around and just screw off for a while, but you know, what levels of creativity could you touch? If you could be anything, if you could do anything at any stage in your life, who would you be? It almost boggles the mind, doesn't it? The possibilities of a humanity healed and whole, of a humanity that can manifest out of thin air. Well, why do you think there's so much alien attention paid to you? It's not because of their abilities. It's because of your natural abilities. Every single human being manifests their reality 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, consciously or unconsciously. There are hybrids on the planet that you would say that some people are trying to say that they don't have a soul. But to say that there are beings in any world that don't have a soul is saying that there can be a dynamic that is outside of all that is.
So everything has a soul. Everything is being urged to grow.
From our perspective, everything is a part of the plan.
Right, and so the urge to grow, that which we associate with the soul, is universal.
Not only universal, but it presents through opportunities, does it not? And if that opportunity happens to be from off-planet, well, why wouldn't that be when there are so many other dynamics of planets that exist in this seemingly singular reality? It's a dynamic of moving to that place where humanity is going to shift from, what shall we say, the greed and avarice, the competition and comparison, to move to that place of being more heart-centered. And that's what's going on now. The channel, and Adrienne were talking the other night about the dynamics of climate change, and the climate is changing. It's just not for the reasons that you think it is. But isn't that a dynamic of a natural movement, a natural thing that is happening in your world? Well, we would say it is. Why? Because you've all chosen to incarnate now. Why? Because you wanted to be here to say, hey, I helped in this phenomenal movement of a species. A movement of feeling that you as a species are not enough. Isn't that an emotional dynamic?
Mm-hmm.
To one of being enough. It's as simple as that. But it seems like such a phenomenal leap, doesn't it?